From the outside, my family looked like any other, but everything changed when my parents divorced. We were the picture-perfect family, always smiling in photos, always attending community events. We were the family everyone wished they could be. Then the financial issues started slowly chipping away at the facade. It was like watching a house of cards collapse, one card at a time, each card representing trust, love, and unity. The divorce was more than just my parents splitting up. It was the end of the family I thought I knew. It was a seismic shift that sent shockwaves through every aspect of our lives. The strain was palpable. The divorce left us all scrambling, trying to make sense of our new reality. But as I would soon discover, this was just the tip of the iceberg. Little did I know, the divorce was just the beginning of a tumultuous journey. When my mom remarried and brought Caitlin, my stepsister, into our lives, everything shifted. Suddenly, our home was no longer just ours. It was also Caitlin's, and she was not just a visitor, she was favored. The balance that had once existed in our family had been disrupted, and I found myself teetering on the edge of feeling unnoticed and unimportant. It started subtly. Caitlin was given the larger bedroom, her favorite meals were always on the table, and her opinions seemed to carry more weight around the house than mine did. The family photos on the mantelpiece were replaced with pictures of Caitlin's achievements and milestones, while mine were relegated to the back of the closet. It was as if I had become a supporting character in my own life story. The favoritism didn't stop there. Caitlin received lavish gifts on her birthdays, while my own celebrations became increasingly modest. My mom would spend hours helping Caitlin with her homework, yet when I asked for help, I was often met with an absent-minded, "In a moment, dear," which usually meant not at all. Then came the holidays. Christmas, once a time of joy and family bonding, now became a stark reminder of my new place in the family. The tree was adorned with ornaments Caitlin had chosen, and under it, her pile of gifts dwarfed mine. It was clear to see who was the favored child, who was the apple of my mother's eye. Through it all, I tried to understand. After all, Caitlin was new to our family. Maybe my mom was just trying to make her feel welcome. But as the months turned into years, the favoritism didn't lessen. Instead, it became more pronounced, more blatant. I felt neglected, overlooked, and sidelined. I was no longer just Sarah, the daughter. I was Sarah, the second thought. The feeling of being replaced by someone who hadn't even been there from the start was like a constant ache, a silent reminder of my displacement. I felt like an outsider in my own home, replaced by someone who hadn't been there from the start. In the midst of this chaos, I found solace in an unexpected place. My dad. The man who once seemed distant now became my refuge. I made the decision to move in with him, a choice that was met with a mixture of relief and apprehension. Living with mom had become unbearable, but moving in with dad, that was uncharted territory. I was stepping into a new dynamic, a different rhythm of life. But as it turned out, it was a rhythm that suited me. Dad's house wasn't just a place to escape, it was a place to heal, to grow, to rediscover parts of myself that had been overshadowed by the turmoil at mom's. Dad was supportive, understanding. He listened when I needed to vent, offered advice when I asked for it. He didn't try to replace mom, didn't try to be the good parent, he was just dad. And that was enough. More than enough, actually. In his simple, understated way, Dad showed me that I mattered. He reminded me of my worth, not through grand gestures or lavish gifts, but through his actions, his patience, his kindness, his unwavering belief in me. Our relationship deepened during this time. We became a team, a united front navigating the choppy waters of divorce, custody battles, and family drama. Living with my dad, I felt seen and valued, something I hadn't felt in a while. Just when I thought I had found some peace, my mom started to guilt trip me. It was an unexpected twist, a new low in a series of disappointments. She'd send messages filled with remorse and regret. Often they were coded in emotional language, designed to make me feel guilty for choosing my dad over her. It was a manipulation tactic, a way to regain control over a situation that she had created herself. I started doubting myself, questioning my decisions. I felt like I was caught in a whirlwind of confusion, where up was down and right was wrong. It was an emotional tug of war, and I was the rope being pulled from both ends. But amidst this chaos, I found strength. I found courage. I found the will to set boundaries. I began to understand that it wasn't about choosing sides in a divorce, but about choosing what was best for me. I realized that emotional manipulation was just another form of control, a way to keep me tethered to a narrative that no longer served me. I had to break free from that cycle. I began to respond to her messages with firmness, setting clear boundaries. I let her know that her guilt trips wouldn't work on me anymore. I was no longer the scared child in the middle of a divorce, but a young woman standing her ground. I realized then that I had to protect my mental health, even if it meant standing up to my own mother. As the divorce proceedings unfolded, a shocking truth came to light. I sat in that sterile courtroom, the air thick with tension, as the layers of my mother's deceit began to peel back. It was a harsh reality to face, but it was necessary for me to understand the extent of her favoritism and financial misconduct. The legal documents painted a clear picture. They showed how my mother had been diverting funds meant for my education and care to lavish Caitlin with extravagant gifts. The evidence was all there, in black and white, receipts, bank statements, even text messages. It felt like a punch to the gut, a betrayal that ran deeper than I could have ever imagined. The favoritism wasn't just emotional, it was financial too. It suddenly became clear why Caitlin had been showered with designer clothes and luxurious vacations while I was told we had to tighten our belts. The contrast was stark and painful, a tangible representation of the imbalance in our family. But the revelations didn't stop there. Testimonies from family, friends, and relatives further corroborated the favoritism. They shared instances where my mother had openly prioritized Caitlin's needs over mine, even going as far as to cancel plans with me to accommodate Caitlin's whims. It was a harsh revelation, hearing people I trusted confirm my worst fears. The courtroom became a stage for my mother's deceit, her actions under the harsh spotlight of legal scrutiny. It was a painful, humbling experience, but it was also liberating. I was no longer burdened by the uncertainty and self-doubt that had plagued me for so long. So, there it was. The truth laid bare for all to see. The favoritism, the financial misconduct, the emotional neglect, it was all real, not a figment of my imagination. It was a tough pill to swallow, but it was also a turning point in my life. The courtroom drama confirmed my worst fears. I was indeed the less favored child. Despite the heartbreak, I chose to focus on my healing and growth. It was a long and challenging journey, but it was necessary for my well-being. I had to confront the pain, the feelings of inadequacy, and the betrayal. It was like navigating through a storm, hoping for a glimpse of sunlight. I sought therapy to help me manage my feelings and to understand my emotions better. It was an uphill battle, but it was worth every tear and every moment of discomfort. I learned that it's okay to feel hurt, to grieve the loss of what I thought was my family. But it was also crucial to understand that I didn't have to stay stuck in that pain. I devoted time to self-discovery, to understanding my values and priorities. I realized that I had been so consumed by the turmoil at home that I'd forgotten about my dreams, my ambitions, and my passion. It was a wake-up call, a realization that I had to start living for myself. I also learned the importance of setting boundaries. It was tough, especially when it came to my mom. She was my family, but she had hurt me deeply. I had to learn to say no, to protect my mental health, to distance myself from the toxicity. It wasn't easy, but it was essential for my healing. I focused on my future, on my education and career. I wanted to build a life that was fulfilling, free from the shadows of my past. I worked hard, studied harder, and pushed myself to reach my goals. I had my dad by my side, supportive and understanding, and that made all the difference. My journey of personal growth taught me resilience. It taught me the value of self-love and self-care. It taught me that I was more than the circumstances of my past, that I was capable of carving out a path for myself. I was my own person, not defined by the favoritism of my mom or the absence of a normal family life. I've learned that it's okay to put my well-being first and to cut off toxic relationships, even if they're family.